So back again. That's right. So I put this on my Facebook. I gotta put it to YouTube so it gets around, because it's gonna lead to some things. You know, I've been in Las Vegas. Went up there to get a job, banging $23 an hour, and you know, they turned it into a whole bunch of problems for me. I've told you the story before, so you don't need to hear it again. But I'm picking up on that these people running these casinos, these rich families, are part of allowing people to be murdered and disappeared from the resorts. And that's that needs to be changed. You know, I went to several casinos this past week. Was very disrespected at the Wynn. I don't appreciate that. You know, I want to really hold the Wynn family accountable for the actions of their employees and the verbal threats. My room, somebody went to my room several times. They did something to my birthday cake. I only had one slice out of my birthday cake, and they probably laced it with something, but I carried out my room and I put it down the hallway on one of those, you know, room service carts that they brought up for somebody else, and like immediately some people were saying something from down the hallway. So you know, I know I was right. I can tell when somebody's been somewhere, you know, and you've been in my room that I was as a guest at the Wynn Resort. So I don't think that anybody from the Wynn family would appreciate it if they went into their multi-million-dollar mansion somewhere they have and did some stuff in their house, or if their kids got sick because their food was poisoned. I don't think you would appreciate that. And that's what happened. Back to what I was saying. Yeah, so I'm picking up that, you know, a lot of different agencies, even some of the law enforcement agencies there, are part of and have been part of killing people. And I went up towards Kingman on my way back out, staying there for about a week, and I stopped over on the backside of the Hualapai mountain range. There's an area called Drake, just off the Purple Heart Trail. You exit right there, and you can travel back a ways on some dirt trail roads once you cross the railroad tracks and get into an area of the Hualapai mountain region. And that's what I did. And I went in that area. I only made it maybe 4 or 5 miles at the most, and then ran into some farmers out there, ranchers with their, looked like they had just brought in these cattle. It was probably like 12 or 14 in their little pen, and they were just brought in. So that was weird, because, to say it again, I actually dropped the pin on my Google Maps that I was going to go there, because something was telling me that there have been bodies hid up there in that area from Las Vegas. And some young preppy white boy punks over at the Venetian even said something about it when they walked past me. And it's like, well, first of all, why would you be even that stupid enough to announce it in, you know, where it can be heard? Because, you know, all those places, they, you know, people were paying attention, people walking around, and you're just gonna blurt out, oh, this motherfucker, you know, called me names and wouldn't even walk past me. And I was gonna run after him, chase him down, really, but I was like, fuck you guys, man, you know, whatever. So, you know, they even said something about the pin that I dropped on my Google Maps, and they even talked about where bodies were being hid. So they knew something about it, and that was weird. So that's when I started my little journey. I didn't care talked to the ranchers. Very weird. Very weird, just a few moments. Even the kid said something about some dead bodies. You know how kids are. They hear something, they'll repeat it and say it. That's how they are. No matter what. I mean, that's just the way they are. The way they're built. Little repeaters of things, right? Saying what they heard. And that's what the kid heard, and that's what he said, so I'm not going to doubt him. So that's for somebody to look into. After leaving that little area where the farmers were at with their little cattle, I headed down towards Yucca and got off the Purple Heart Trail right at Yucca, and then took the frontage road, and you take it on down, and then turns off. You go up to like 15 into Alamo, which will carry you all the way around on. It's like a really extremely wide road. It's like a triple wide road that is meticulous. It's a nice road out there for a dirt trail road. Is nice, and that's where I started my journey, right? So you have about 35 miles, 40, I don't know exactly, maybe more. It's a long ways. It's not just like 5 miles up the road and you're done. And that's where I started. You know, just some small remote houses way out there in the boonies. All kinds of other roads that jut off left and right that there's nothing there. Unless something's hidden underground there. So yeah, it was like weird. And I feel like I was even followed by some people too. You know, you get that feeling like, okay, you see somebody, but then you get that feeling that you know that they're trailing you or following you to see what's going on. And it took me a while to travel that road, 2.5 hours. I mean, it's not like a paved road, so you're not going 50 miles an hour. I mean, you're still hitting washboard, and some areas were, you know, a little bit sandy. 80% of it was really excellent, and the last 20% was I had to put it in 4-wheel drive. You know, some real sketchy areas. And it was kind of a extremely light rainfall, even far off in the distance, but it was enough to make some of those rivers flow just lightly. But you know, here in Arizona, you can get terrible flash floods that people, you know, drown in because they're, I can cross that, and their vehicle capsizes or they get stuck and they drown. You know what happens. So yeah, there was an area where this old man in his green Ford pickup truck, single cab, long bed, was like hauling ass, and he almost hit me, almost. And he was an older white guy, you know, just crackhead looking fool, either from Wiki Up or Kingman. But he was looking at me all strange, and I was like, wow. So I don't know. They do some weird stuff. When you get out there, they think they can just do weird stuff to people, and they try to do that. So that was just like a weird encounter out there. But that was my travels there, and I'm back, and I'm here to talk about it because, you know, Kingman, I said on my Facebook, you know, it's the meaning of the word, the King's man. You know, what are they doing for the Kings? Because Las Vegas is now very international. It's not from the gangsters that made it way back in the 40s and 50s. It's no longer that way. It's all these foreign families, and they're the ones that are doing and helping to participate in disappearing off the American people because they were told they could. Even Trump said something to the effect like, well, they were told they could have it if they could take it quietly. So he openly admitted that there was outside and maybe even off-planetary persons that were told they could have control of the United States. That's the way I see it. I mean, we realize they have their global elites, their rich foreign powers that are extremely, they have their Illuminati dumbs, their secret societies. That's what Vegas is now. It's not what it was in the 1940s and 50s, which is, it would be better if it was. And then I'm angry because, we as American people allow all these rich piece of crap trash foreigners fly in on their jumbo jets and Lear jets and land in Las Vegas, and that's the whole reason the lakes are gone. And you're too stupid to say anything about it, man. All you people, all you ladies, you're too dumb and stupid to say anything about it. We don't need these foreigners here any longer. They've done nothing but deplete our natural water resources. Even here in Arizona, it's turning into a big deal now because Saudi Arabia, they have their alfalfa farms and they have other farms around here, and they're just taking our water, but they can ship all their nice greens and produce and all that all the way back to Saudi Arabia, to their desert, to their sandbox. And now it's like some of the politicians are actually saying, hey, this is kind of an issue now. First of all, we don't owe Saudi Arabia nothing. I mean, are we going to go to Thailand and just start farming and taking all their resources and ship it over back to America? Probably not. But some of these politicians, they probably get, secret deals. That's why they do it. And here they are. You got like the mayor of Scottsdale wants to turn off the water to some people that live out there, right? You remember that, Mr. Ortega, and this whole big deal, like, there is no passion when it comes to water. There's no compassion. So here we are, we're allowing people from foreign countries to come over here, and they build these huge farm areas, and they take our water. But Mr. Ortega over there at Scottsdale, Arizona, is going to say there's no compassion when it comes to water, right? So the MLB is rigged. Tonight there was something weird that happened. I put a little bit of money down on the Denver Lakers game, and then I included the Arizona Diamondbacks, and you can tell they completely gave it away with a 4-run home run. So that's something that somebody needs to deal with, because I know why they did that tonight. Even some guys showed up talking about some other girls elsewhere. And I'm hearing these commentators, these people that are working the NBA games, they're talking about her. And even tonight on the Major League Baseball, the announcers, commentators are talking about Morania. And a lot of you don't believe it, but the reptilian command structure that was controlling most of everything that happens, even globally, they're all dead. They've been taken out. They're dead. Finally, they're dead. That's another announcement that Trump got to make when he was the president. The only sitting president to tell everybody that actually attended the governor's ball, because that's where he released the information about how the reptilian king was murdered and taken out. He was gone. He's gone. There's a whole new command structure set up now, and nobody believes it. And all these politicians, all these Freemasons, and all these Illuminati people that are tied in with sports and tied in with the government, or tied in with foreign powers that trespass upon people here in America, they don't realize that what they were doing is no longer allowed. And that's the lesson that's being taught. And yes, there's a lot of money to be made in the NBA, the NFL, the Major League Baseballs, rigging games, throwing games, everything, right? So that's a lot to talk about tonight. There's a lot to talk about tonight, and I'm putting this on my YouTube, and somebody's gonna watch it. You know, I don't appreciate it. I told you they were targeting people in Tulalip, Washington. I've been contacting every single the senators that sit on the Indian Affairs Senate Committee. You know, they have a special committee that is supposed to look into the Indian affairs. And when we have a police department and security that are involved in murder and kidnapping and disappearing people off, and only people from the Freiburg or Gobin or Zacchaeus or McCoy or Guzman or certain families on the reservation get money from the casino operation, we're not okay with that anymore. It's been happening for a while. And all these senators are being told that they now need to force the change. It's not okay. It's not okay that the Zacchaeus or the Gobin or Mel Sheldon or Les Parks and those people, it's not okay for them to get all the casino money. You know, that casino in Tulalip, Washington was built for everybody. Not just 5 or 7 families that steal all the money. And then they threaten to murder you with cops or security. They're going to have you disappeared. And they've done stuff like that. They've attacked people. They've dumped them out in the forest. They've had cops kill people on the side of the road. No footage. This happened. It goes down in the report, and then that's it. You know, no murder trial for the cop. No murder trial for the cop. Or attempted murder. And that's not okay. And that goes to Governor Inslee and his people. You know, I contacted Cantwell, Murray, and they think it's a joke. And it's not a joke. I'm really angry. I'm really the F angry about that stuff. It's not a joke anymore. You know, we don't live 500, 700 years. You know, nowadays you get a good 65 years if you're lucky. And if you're really lucky, then you get close to 90. But nowadays, with all this bad stuff going on, just bad stuff's happening. Another video for you. A lot of different things covered. I know somebody's going to find it interesting, because I do. I find it interesting. I spent a lot of years in Tulalip searching around the casinos for a wife, looking for a lady. And none of you girls from JSOC Command or the CIA or the NSA reserve the right to just leave me by myself. Spent all these years chasing after sexy ladies. There's no reason why I shouldn't be in Ahwatukee or Scottsdale sitting around a house with 3 or 4 beautiful ladies. And here I am instead telling you about what the Wynn family did up there in Las Vegas, or what happened over here, or what people did in Tulalip. Like, you think it's okay. And all those girls in the Wynn, they have this crappy attitude that, like, they think they can do it. It's all right. Even today, I went to EOS over by Luke Air Force Base, and there was some white boy, young preppy boy punks saying, "Oh man, if they were killing the military people off, that they didn't want around no more." And you got a problem with that? It's like, yeah, I do got a problem with that, because those were good people. And this goes out to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, man. I bet you, you know, if you're sitting around the Pentagon today, and your wife or your son or your grandkid came up missing in the next week, you would be like very angry. So it's no different about what's going on over there in Las Vegas. You're told to straighten out, man. You're told to straighten it out. The Joint Chiefs of Staff, you need to straighten it out, man. This is not okay that this crap has been going on for far too long.